Hello and welcome to Scholar's first ever session. We all know that UPSC Civil Services exam is the most prestigious and toughest of all government exams. And ho bhi kyun na, every year lakhs of aspirants apply for this particular exam and only a handful of them clear it. And it requires a lot of dedication, hard work and perseverance to be in that list. So we know that the 2018 results were out recently, and today we have with us Rishab Jain, All India rank 23. He's also the state topper from Tamil Nadu. So in this session, we will try to know what it really takes to become an IAS officer. First of all, Rishab, many congratulations on your success, and we will start now. So this was your third attempt.
Yes.
How does it feel to have finally cleared this examination, and that too with All India rank 23?
It feels good. It feels very happy to have cleared this examination. And it has been a very long-term dream for me, right from my college period to appear in the civil service examination and to get into the IAS, that is the Indian Administrative Services. And this time it's special because I cleared in my third attempt, and also all my parents and my friends are really happy with my success. And I think and I really wish that I go into the field and I serve my society as well as my country through whatever means it's possible. So it just feels very happy to be here.
It definitely is. Okay, so tell us something about yourself. Also, when and how this thought of joining the administrative services occurred to you.
I graduated from Jain Engineering College in the year 2014. I graduated in Electronics and Communication Engineering. After that, I started working with Infosys. But even during my college period, I had an interest in public service. That is, I was a member of the college Rotary Club, and through our club, we did a lot of community development projects. I could list out certain projects such as I was a part of career guidance program for school students, especially those students who are from government schools. So by that I developed an idea and interest in public service, and this was a strong motivation point for me that I could take up this as a career. So after my Infosys stint, I started preparing for my civil services. I had to resign my job for that in the year 2015. So I started preparing in the year 2015 in the month of August. So by in the year 2019 on the month of April, I really cleared this examination. So that was something about me.
So as you mentioned that you had to quit your job to prepare for civil services. So what is your take on simultaneous preparation of UPSC along with a job?
Okay. There are people who prepare for UPSC along with their job, people who have cleared this exam also with top ranks, and it was not my take. I did not feel that I could do justice to both my job as well as to my preparation. But it's really possible with the availability of online resources as well as classes, etc. What I would say is that if people want to prepare for civil services by being in a job, then they really have to devote a lot of time. For example, every day for 4 hours, minimum for 4 hours, they have to devote for their study, and the entire weekends, that is on Saturdays or Sundays, whenever they are getting a holiday, they have to devote for their preparation. So they have to manage their time properly with respect to their family, their preparation as well as their work. So this requires a lot of hard work and dedication, but it's definitely doable.
Okay, so as you mentioned that dedication to all the fields that you are a part of, that means if you're preparing for UPSC and whatever the job that you are into, you should be able to dedicate time well, and obviously a lot of hard work is required. You have to make sure that during your weekdays when you come home after work, you study every day, as well as during your weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you have to devote a lot of your time. Okay. So the preparation is tough and the syllabus is vast. Despite not clearing the exam twice, what is it that kept you going, kept you motivated and focused?
See, I never felt that the exam is very tough. Okay, that's something we tell ourselves. No, some conditioning happens within us
that is like a myth.
Like a myth. It's not a very toughest examination. The toughest is the part because it takes a lot of perseverance and consistency. So that's the part that's the most toughest in this examination, because the subjects that we read in this examination, for example, social studies, history, geography, all of these subjects we have already read during our school period. We are just reading it once more again, and we are applying these subjects, this theoretical knowledge in the practical space. And we have a lot of current affairs. So the part is just a myth that we have been said that it's tough. Okay, and what kept me going in my attempts was I knew that I could do it. I was very optimistic. I was very optimistic about me. I knew that this is an exam which is doable because hundreds of aspirants do it every year. So why not me? I always thought that I am a right person for this examination, and I could do it. And in my attempts, first attempt I did certain mistakes which I rectified in the second attempt. While in second attempt also I did certain mistakes. In the third attempt, I ensured that I don't do any of those mistakes, and I ensured that I strategize my study plan in such a manner that I get into the top ranks. So that's what led me to get into the All India Rank 23.
Okay, so as you mentioned, everyone who's preparing for this particular exam should be very optimistic when it comes to their preparation. You have to believe in yourself that you've got it all it takes to become an IAS officer or IPS or IFS officer. Also, you mentioned that you learned from your failure, that there were some mistakes that you did in your first attempt that you rectified during your second attempt, and you made sure that you don't repeat those mistakes in this final attempt that helped you get through. Also, you mentioned about perseverance and consistency. So these are very important qualities that an aspirant must have. Consistency is what really helps a person to get through. Okay. So moving on to the next question, if I asked you to pinpoint that one change that you made in your preparation that helped you succeed this time, what would that be?
What most aspirants do as a mistake is that they focus exclusively on prelims, and they take up the subject related to mains or optional only after their preliminary examination. What I found that the 4 months is not really enough to cover the entire main syllabus as well as the optional syllabus. And mains is not something we just have to mark the right answer, because we have to go to the examination hall and we have to write the answers. Okay, so that's something I felt only in my second and my third attempt. So that's what something I have changed. I synergize my preparation so that I prepare for both preliminary examination as well as mains examination. And in my third attempt, I did a lot of practice. For example, I solved some 50 to 60 MCR preliminary question papers of various coaching institutes, and whatever I was getting, I was solving all these question papers. I was attempting a lot of mock tests for my mains examination also. Around 30 to 40 mock tests I attempted for this main examination. And even for my interview, what I did was, myself along with 2 to 3 friends, we used to sit together and we used to conduct mock interview among ourselves. One person will be an interviewer and 2 or 3% will be interviewer and 1% will be an interviewee. So I did a lot of practice, and I ensured that all the practice that I have put into it gets executed at the examination hall or at the interview place. So that's what I changed in this attempt.
So according to you, simultaneous preparation of both prelims and mains is very, very essential to get through mains also. Since the time is very limited between prelims and the mains examination, which is like 3 to 4 months, so it gets really difficult to cover the vast syllabus of UPSC. So all of you who are watching this particular video, make sure that you're not preparing only for the prelims. Make sure that you cover at least 50% of the syllabus before the mains. Will that be fine, correct?
I would say that you guys have to try to cover the entire optional subject before the preliminary examination. At least the optional syllabus should have been completed 100%, and the other mains related topic, it could have been completed at 50%, because your time is very less and the time should be utilized more for practice and answer writing, completing the paper within 3 hours and all that. If we start studying during that 3 months time, then we won't be getting time to prepare for the exam. We won't get time to practice for the examinations. So those 3 to 4 months, it must be dedicated mostly towards practicing the answer writing part.
So practice is the key to clear mains.
Exactly.
So what difficulties did you face during your preparation for UPSC, and how did you overcome all those hurdles?
There were certain difficulties which I did face. One difficulty was to ensure that I synergize my study plan with respect to both preliminary examination as well as main examination. As I already said in my first attempt, I did that mistake. Starting from the August 2015 till August 2016, which I had my first prelims, I was focusing exclusively on my prelims. And I had only 3.5 months for my mains examination, and that time was really very less for me to cover this entire syllabus. So in my second attempt, I almost covered the entire optional subject before my preliminary examination, so that I got good marks. I got 271 in my second attempt in my optional. So that was a difficulty which that was a mistake which I did, and I rectified that mistake. And other difficulties could be choosing a right coaching center or right mentor, because I felt that if we have any right mentor, then those mentors can guide us to the right path or how to clear this examination. So I I met few rankers, top rankers in my second and my third attempt, and those top rankers, they guided me how to write good answers and how to present myself in interview. So these are certain difficulties I faced, and I overcame these difficulties.
So mentors do play a very important role in guiding you to get through this examination. I'm sure you'll be a mentor of lots of other people now,
Sure.
since you've achieved this.
Yeah, I
Okay.
hope so.
So it is generally believed that if you're preparing for UPSC, you must devote 14 to 16 hours a day. What's your take on this, and how did you strategize your preparation?
I think that this 14 to 16 hours is a big myth. Okay, I don't really believe that anyone is studying for 14 to 16 hours is required to clear this UPSC examination. What I believe is that per day studying for 8 to 9 hours consistently, that's what it is important. We should not study for 14 hours per day and just leave the subject for the next day, or study after 2 or 3 days. Study regularly, study on a daily basis, but study for 8 hours. Sleep well, eat well, because all of these are important. Just by studying for 14 to 16 hours, it will take a huge toll on the body of that particular person. The person might not be sleeping well, the person might not be eating well, the person might not be regular to exercises, etc. So all those things should not be missed. Preparation is definitely important, but we should take care of our body also. Our health is also very important. So I think so 14 to 16 hours is just a myth. Have a consistent study of 8 hours per day. That's enough to clear this examination.
So according to you, the number of hours as created by a lot of people is a myth. What we require is a dedicated preparation. Consistency is what you must have. Maybe preparing a study plan for themselves and sticking to it is what will help one succeed. With unlimited number of resources available both online and offline, it is easy to get lost in the sheer quantity of study materials. So according to you, what are the key points that one should keep in mind to not pile up the resources? Like, what will help them in selecting the best resources?
Actually, if you see means, I've seen aspirants who spend considerable amount of their time and energy in just buying materials and stocking up in their study table without even utilizing that. I will say that you have to read one book 10 times rather than reading 10 books one time. Okay, so see, the standard books are always available on the internet, and standard books have also been prescribed by the toppers of the previous years. Okay, just stick to those standard books, don't go out of that, because even I read from those standard books, and it's about how well you have read the concepts, how well are you able to connect the concepts, interconnect these concepts. That matters. Okay, so just stick with the standard book. That's what it is needed. Don't go to any market, or don't go to any online sources where a lot of resources are available. There are certain online sources like Rajya Sabha TV debates or all India radio news, etc. So these are certain consistent sources which are always which can always be trusted. Okay, so just trust on these resources, and don't ponder upon 10 different resources thinking that this question is asked from this notes, or this question came up from this website, etc. Have a trust on certain standard websites and newspapers, and only read those. You have to be very consistent, and you have to be very selective of what you are reading. Okay.
So PIB, All India Radio, RSTV,
Exactly.
even the NCRT textbooks. So these are the standard resources that one must refer to.
One must refer to. Exactly.
What about the current affairs? Because we know that a lot of current affairs based questions are asked both in prelims and mains. So how should one go about preparing for their current affairs?
With respect to current affairs, I would say that you have to follow a newspaper consistently. In my preparation of 4 years, the newspaper which I followed was The Hindu, and I read it consistently. On a daily basis, I used to read the Hindu newspaper. And with respect to other resources, I used to follow PIB sometimes, not on a daily basis, but especially during when the parliament was on functioning, I used to follow PIB, and that was the time when I used to follow PIB. And I used to read certain magazines like Down to Earth, and that really helped me with my environment related concepts. I read Kurukshetra and Yojana magazines that really helped in economy as well as rural development, rural economy, etc. So these are certain sources. I have limited my resources to these four: newspaper on a daily basis, Yojana Kurukshetra on a monthly basis, and Down to Earth on a fortnight basis. So these are the four resources which I utilize for current affairs.
By the way, all of that, if we talk about All India Radio, Rajya Sabha TV speeches, or all the discussion that takes place on Rajya Sabha TV, and talking about Yojana, Kurukshetra, EPW. So all of this is available on Skholar website as well as app. So if you've not checked the app yet or the website yet, please go check that website. As you mentioned, Down to Earth magazine helped you. So your optional being geography. Can you tell how should one decide on their optionals? Like what are the points one should keep in mind while deciding what is the optional that they should take? Because it carries very good amount of marks when we look at names. So what are the points according to you?
According to me, if you want to choose an optional subject, you should love that subject. Because if you are choosing an optional subject, you have to really spend a lot of time reading that particular optional subject, more time than your mains examination, the starting period. So if you do not love that subject, if you do not understand every concept of that subject, it becomes very difficult for for everyone to clear the examination. I have known people who have taken up an option for 3 to 4 attempts. After that, only they realized that this option is not my cup of tea. And then they moved on to another optional, and by that they have cleared this examination. If they could have moved on to that optional which they took in their 4th attempt, in that first attempt itself, they could have cleared that examination, right? So choosing an optional subject, first thing is that you have to see how much do you love that subject, do you love reading that subject, do you understand the concepts very well, etc. So that can be the first thing. Second thing, you have to see that whether the materials are available in the market, study materials are available for easy. For example, if you take subjects such as sociology or geography or history, the materials are available very easily in the market, okay? But if you take certain science related subjects like physics or chemistry, not much materials are available on the market. So again, this can become an issue.
But this should not be the only criteria.
Yeah,
right?
this should not become a criteria.
This sort of, because of the availability of materials, some people are pushed into taking optionals that they not really love.
This should not only be the criteria. I'm just saying that this could be a criteria. The first and most criteria is that you should love the subject and you should be able to read that subject for a very long time. If you could understand and integrate the concept of that subject, then that's the subject for you. And third, I could say, if you are getting a good teacher who can teach you that subject, then rest assured that you will be able to easily clear this examination. There should be a teacher, getting a coaching is not really important. But if someone is there to mentor you and guide you with that subject, that will be very easier for you. So again, that's another criteria. Okay, so this, and then you can also, there is another one more criteria. What people see is that if that optional subject can be used in their GS preparation.
Yes.
I have seen people who have taken optional. For example, this year All India Rank 1, his optional is Maths, but that Maths would be nowhere used in GS, but still he could get All India Rank 1. Okay, so don't think that I would be taking an optional subject which would be useful for me in GS. Okay, so your optional subject, you have to really love it and you should be good at that optional subject. That's what it is important.
Even I think syllabus and previous year questions do play an important role in selecting an optional, because one should ideally go look at the syllabus of the optional that they want to take for their mains, and at least go through last 3 years of previous year questions to understand how much do they already know about that particular subject.
Yes, Priya, you're right. A person, every optional subject, it is up to a level of bachelor's with honors degree. So that's what the level of optional subject. So definitely by looking into the syllabus or by reading the previous year questions, we could understand that how much can we write. For example, for sociology questions, it becomes easier for students to write answers because most of the issues they are dealing with the current events around us. Okay, so it becomes easier for students to write answers with respect to sociology. So that's how the subjects are. So these are the certain criteria, as you said. So we have to choose we have to keep in mind while choosing an optional subject.
So Rishab, in the last few days leading up to the exam, we have the prelims exam in a few days now. So what do you think should be the right strategy now for people to, practice in order to get through this examination?
The last few weeks that we are coming up right now, I think so people should start revising their notes more and more. They should revise it as many times as possible, and they should practice more mocks. And whatever mock tests they have taken up by now and they have practiced, they should make sure that they revise those mocks at least 2 or 3 times. They should see that how many questions they have attempted, how many questions they have got right, how many questions they have got wrong. They should analyze their performance. Okay, they should analyze their performance, and in the upcoming years they should make sure that they attend more mocks as well as possible, as well as read all those mocks. Make sure that you have revised all those mocks as well as revise all those notes. One more thing, if students have not done, you can please take out the previous year question papers of UPSC itself and start analyzing, understanding how the questions are being asked, and solve those questions also. Not just solving those questions, but to do a little bit of research about why that question came in that particular year, or what are the different options, or what is the question, what is the scope of that question, etc. Because in the 3 years that I have attempted the preliminary examinations, I have found always that 2 to 3 questions are repeated from the previous year questions. So if students could learn that trick of analyzing the previous year questions, then I'm sure that this year also 1 or 2 questions can be repeated from previous year questions.
So, like, how many number of years, when we talk about previous year questions, how many number of years roughly at least people should solve questions in order to have an idea about what are the kind of questions being asked?
I think so that roughly in the last 20 to 25 years questions people should solve. Why I'm saying is that subjects such as history or polity, there is nothing much that has changed. For history, there is nothing that has changed, right? What happened in 1947 remains as it is. So if we solve the 25-year question, we could ensure that we have covered every year 10 to 15 questions at least comes from modern history. So if 25-year questions have been solved, then just do the math. How many questions we have in history? There are huge chances that 1 or 2 questions can come from history itself. Even from polity, the constitution, though it has been amended quite a number of times, the basic text, it remains the same. So again, we can get a lot of questions from the constitution of India itself in the polity. Also in geography, nothing much has changed. The rivers has remained as those rivers, the mountain has remained as those mountains. So these are certain static part which can be repeated so many times. So by learning the previous year questions, we can cover the static part also. That's why I'm saying 25 years is a good number.
So according to you, revising all the notes that you've created or all that you've studied, so now is the time to not learn new things. It is the time to revise all that you've learned, along with taking as much as mocks or as many tests as possible, right?
Yes, exactly.
So how has your life changed after clearing UPSC with All India Rank 23, and how excited are you about your future proceedings?
I have seen a phenomenal change in my life. I have been called at many places to get felicitated, as well as to inspire the younger generation, to inspire the other aspirants who are preparing for this examination. People have been asking me doubts, and I'm taking such opportunity to help them to clear this examination. Again, my future course will be like from the month of August. I'll be joining the foundation course at Lavasna, which is Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for Administration, which is in Missouri, Uttarakhand. So that's the place where all the IAS officers and certain officers of the allied services, they go for the foundation course. So I'm looking forward to go to that foundation course and learn as much as possible so that I could work on the field.
Well, that brings us to an end of this session. It was great interacting with you, Rishab. Personally, you've inspired me a lot by sharing all that you had to go through to reach where you are right now. And I'm sure all the people watching this particular video will get inspired by your story. Stay tuned to Skholar for more, and we at Skholar wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Thank you.